Let's see if we've got anything coming through.
No.
Yay! That is good.
Is it?
Yeah, it does. So I'll check audio.
Oh yeah, I just realised I've put on the right title as well. Fuck yes, I'm well good at this.
Yeah, you're very good.
It's almost like the planets fucking align.
I know.
Audio's coming through to Twitch, and YouTube is now live. Yeah, that's coming through to YouTube as well. So we're all good. Everything's running.
Hoo-ah.
We are broadcasting properly and correctly. Good evening, I'm Suffolk Cram.
Skazz.
And special
Zabermoul.
guest.
I was yeah.
You can tell we
We
haven't
didn't
done this
think this
before,
one through.
right?
Yeah.
Good evening. Good evening, I'm the Suffolk Cram.
Skazz.
And special guest.
Zabermoul.
Oh, that's better.
Yay.
See, that worked.
I was going to say the delivery and timing of a cardboard box, but you know.
Now we
Yeah.
can see if Skazz members cut that bit out.
Oh, more editing.
Assholes.
Welcome to episode 195 of the Randnez podcast.
As tradition goes, is it 195? You sure it's 195?
Yeah, it's definitely 195.
I don't know. I've lost a day or two, or a week, maybe
Only
two.
another 5, and we go to Chernobyl.
I was gonna
Fantastic.
say that's a lot of episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been broadcasting pretty much. We've had a few hiatuses, but generally pretty regularly since 2013.
Let's just be fair though. About 196 of those, they're all shit. We're aiming for the future here, people.
Yes, but I think it's all shit now. We can only go. We've got Zaber on board now. It's fine. We'll be fine now. On.
Our lady audience will be so much happier now.
I'm gonna be the one that screws everything up.
Proud
Ain't
of
they
you.
gonna be cool? Yes.
If that's the case, mate, I'll just send you the audio. You're even more of a perfectionist than I am, and everything I've released in the last several years is shite.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Did you? Were you going through a tunnel? You kind of cut out there.
Dickhead.
Right, so let's get straight into it then, guys. So, what have we been up to? What have we been doing? You've been up to a lot.
I took a week off.
Yeah. So did I. Like literally, I took a week off, went to the UK, and it was awesome. And then that was that.
Now Zaber's gone home. We're all having vacations. So Zaber's now on vacation back in Denmark. I'm having a vacation to recover from the vacation.
It's usually the thing. When I go to the UK for a week, I need another vacation when I get back home from the vacation.
The stress.
Yeah.
No, it's just not lack of sleep, I think.
Sleep is for rich people. I keep telling you that.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of jet lag between the UK and Denmark?
Well, depending on which way you go around the globe, yeah.
Touche, sir. Touche. No, hang on, sir. Because depending on how fast you're playing, you come back to the same time zone still.
You probably do, yes.
So
I'll still be an hour ahead, though.
you're still an hour ahead in your body, but yeah, you have had a very long flight.
Time travel.
You'll still only be out from your native lands by an hour.
Yeah. Well, technically, it takes an hour to fly from where I flew back to Denmark.
Oh, see, time travel.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And that takes an hour, so it should be like 23 hours to go the other way around back to my own time zone, right?
Yes.
See, there you go.
So, yeah, but you're on a plane 23 hours, but you're still going to be out by the same when you get back round. You'll just have to spend a whole day on a plane instead.
Yes.
So.
No jet lag from 1 hour flight. No, that's not a thing.
Well, I hope not.
No, we hope not. It's just the shit that you have to put up with when you land on the other side. Almost getting murdered by an Audi driver. Woman almost getting killed by a van. Fucking.
This is on the UK side, by the way, not the Danish side.
No, they're more chill in Denmark.
Well, no, because no one lives here.
Yeah.
He decided to come from bumfuck middle of nowhere Denmark to bumfuck middle of nowhere fucking UK.
It's only
Yes.
Zaber one other person over there, so.
That's about right.
Yeah. So, yeah, well, he was a fairly. So you had an adventurous drive back here. We had an adventurous drive back, didn't we, Zaber? Nothing really happened.
No, it was completely uneventful.
Yeah, boring even.
Well, there was that one, like, so we had one lorry being like a complete whatever on the road. But that was that.
Yeah.
That was that.
It was. I was like waiting for something to happen because we were trying to run out of things to talk about, to be honest.
Look, a tree!
We had loads of things to talk about.
Yeah.
Nerdy things.
Yeah. Like we discussed different road services in the different countries.
I was going to say fucking asphalt. Did that come into the conversation?
Yes.
Of course it did.
Yeah. I demonstrated rumble strips as Zaber by running over them.
Yeah. But you had these like square things in the middle of the road that was supposed to light up when you're driving at night, right?
Cat's eyes.
Yeah, we don't have those. We don't have those. That's not a thing here.
That technology hasn't reached Denmark yet.
No,
Which is really funny considering we live in bumfuck middle of nowhere 1800s.
And cat's eyes were invented in like the 1900s, so one day it might.
And he's the time traveler. He should have them by now.
He should have them by now.
The thing is, no one lives here. We don't need them.
Ain't no one driving Denmark. Ain't no one in Denmark.
Yeah, they all share a car.
We have a bus.
So what is this thing you call transport?
Yeah.
You had to ride the flying metal dragon to get to the UK, and
It's Denmark, a bit like the Truman Show. You think there's actually everybody else is just extras. It's just Zaber who's like in this weird reality is being watched.
no, that might be true. That might be true. I mean,
That means I definitely must have my own OnlyFans then.
oh damn it! I'll look it up later.
We'll put a link in the show notes for everybody later.
Oh mate, Zaber would be making a fortune. I told a mate today. They're like, "Oh yeah, so how's Zaber getting?" I was like, "I don't know." I said, "But the rate that all you lot keep asking me about him, I could make a fucking fortune."
Yeah, no.
Well, it's not up to you, is it?
That's
Bitch does as is told.
So guys, what did you guys get up to game-wise then when you were gallivanting around?
There was some Puyo Puyo Tetris.
Yeah, and
That was fun.
yeah,
I had a little bit of a slip up though.
yeah, you did.
I farted on stream. And the mic was right in front of my ass. Yeah, it was hilarious.
The rumble heard around the world.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you accidentally farted on stream?
Nah, I just don't think I paid it any. What do you say? Like I didn't think about it at the time. It was just we were just talking. And,
He was too busy laughing his ass off, and then it just slipped, and then he shat all over my microphone.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Microphone's still glowing green, by the way.
But yeah, then we played some. What we played? Some Counter-Strike.
Yep.
We were testing that out, going through the Chromebook.
Yeah, because you were so. Zaber joined in part of my 5-game stop being a scrub rotation, and so that's Counter-Strike, Dota 2, League of Legends, Valorant, and Overwatch. But Zaber had brought down his Chromebook, and so he played the 3 games that were available for him to play on Geforce Now, or at least the 3 games from the rotation that were available. He played them on Geforce Now. So that was Counter-Strike, Dota 2, League of Legends, and to be honest with you, I thought they played quite well.
Yeah, I mean, League and Dota played extremely well. I'd say for first-person shooter, I was running on Wi-Fi, so maybe
Probably
it would
not
have been
ideal.
better. Yeah. So it would probably have ran a lot better had I had my machine cabled.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it felt a little like 30 frames or less per second every now and then when I was playing. So it really wasn't ideal, but I mean,
So you got that, like, because that's the thing, like when you're running at 60, games feel a bit fluid, but then when you're playing games at sub 60 on a mouse and keyboard, things tend to feel a bit,
yeah,
I don't know, like your mouse is in fucking like goop, and
Sluggish.
just things feel a little bit behind. So I mean, yeah, I would totally say that would have been a thing. All in though,
I need an adapter.
Yeah, sure.
I need an adapter for it so I can run it cabled.
No, yeah, because you already have USB-Cs on your Chromebook, don't you? No Ethernet. I mean.
Yeah, there's no Ethernet. No. There's only like Wi-Fi in that one, unless I buy a dongle for it to go through a USB-C or whatever. So,
Cool.
yeah. I mean, it was fun. It was fun to test out because I really hadn't tested it out much. I did it at one point when we guys was playing Valheim.
Yeah.
So when because obviously, well, people can see this now. This is my daughter's room. My machine is in this, and when she's home, I can't play here. I won't play here, so I have the laptop, and I was trying Valheim on that one. It ran okay-ish as well. But yeah, it's
Yeah, because you helped me on the gear grind for the Rand Nerds game night.
Yeah.
Oh, the gear grind. I still have Vietnam flashbacks from that. Fucking hell.
I thought Valheim was a game we shall never mention again.
Oh, yeah, sorry, shit. That game that must not be named.
See, I told you guys how to fuck it up.
Like Macbeth, you know, it's the Macbeth of the game of the Rand Nerds world.
Break a leg.
Valheim. So, yeah, I think we would have still been playing it this time last year. I think. I can't remember if we just finished it by now, but we were getting towards the end. I think.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah. That was one of like it was such a relief when we were finally done with that one.
Yeah, that was so grindy.
Well, let's put it this way. I still had a full head of hair, long hair at that point. Fucking a year later, I'm bald as fuck. Do not do the Valheim gear grind.
Yeah, it's atrocious. No, I'd say do not do the Valheim gear grind alone or only two people. Like be a like a group.
Yeah.
You know, and have loads and loads of time. Like have nothing but time. You know,
need
be single and be living in your mom's basement so you can like you have a constant like flow of food coming your way.
Yeah. It'd been the ideal game to play when you're back in college. You know, you've got no responsibilities. You've got no one to rely on you. You can just play for hours every night. That's the ideal time to be playing Valheim. And there's like it's a group of you, all the same boat. You group of your mates, all the same thing.
When you're in college and you want to just piss it all away, just play Valheim.
yeah. So that was Valheim's solution. What they should have done is they should have had some sort of server scaling or something like that, maybe where they could say, okay, well, so it reduces equipment costs and what have you. But yeah, thank fuck for you guys. I mainly thank fuck for Skazz. Oh, I don't think how many hours put into that one.
Fuck, mate. That I was devastated when I saw that was one of the first games on my Steam library to breach 100 hours. I was like, this game has to go in the fucking bin.
Yeah, I went instant delete on that one when we were done. It's like, yeah, I don't need this no more.
Same, pretty much. As soon as we said we were done, I was like, yep, you're gone, son. That's it. It's
exactly.
over.
I love that we're all experiencing some sort of PTSD from Valheim.
Yeah, I mean they've added more stuff in. The thing is, because that was so early access that when we actually beat the sarcastic air quotes last boss, the items it dropped weren't they didn't even have a model. They were like just placeholder items.
Don't tell me there's new bosses in that game. Right?
I believe so. Yeah.
We're not going back.
No,
that's not a thing.
No,
there are no new bosses at all.
There will be no new anything. No. Valheim got deleted. The devs became millionaires and they went to the moon. They lived happily ever after. And then they decided to delete the game so that, no one ever asked for them again. There you go. Job done. History of Valheim. Lore official as Rand Nerds told it today, now, 2022. Yeah. Be gone.
My biggest tragedy in Valheim for me was going back to our what I called the barn that Zaber built. And we've been there. We moved on to somewhere else. And I had some pigs that I was farming. And I get back and I found that someone had broken the fence down. They disappeared into mysterious origins. Like, oh, I've lost my pigs. That was the biggest tragedy of Valheim for me.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
My pigs disappeared. So sad.
Yeah.
I spent ages taming them pigs.
Should we have a moment?
Yeah. No, not for Valheim, no.
No.
It wasn't for Valheim in general, it's just for the piggies.
Oh, well, piggies, everybody has a moment I always have a moment for piggy.
Even when Zaber's the one killing them at fucking en masse in every other game.
Yeah. I have a thing for bacon.
Bosh, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you are from Denmark, so you know.
Yeah.
You are the land of bacon.
We love our bacon.
Nailed it.
Yeah. I was working with bacon today, actually. And the little friends gave me some friends. They gave me a load of midgies. It's been wonderful.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, I had Pete. I bought in the car. And I just saw them crawling up my arm. Pig midgets. It's like, oh.
Midget
Great.
pigs, they sound delicious.
No, they're not midget pigs. They're little midgets that live on pigs, and they crawl over and they gradually work their way across you and work all the places you don't really want pig midgets to work their way to. So.
All the way up until the shower, I imagine.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's like Like, get in that shower, wash it off. I might have 2 or 3 just to make sure they're all gone.
Stand there for 6 hours, burn the van, burn all your clothes.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys.
Bloody midgets.
Family,
Midgies.
we're in COVID lockdown
Midgies.
again. Why? Midgies. No!
On the plus side, we did fly spray the sheep today, which you never see go on yourself when you do it, which means I'm now 5 and I won't get attacked by any gnats anymore because they will die.
Fantastic.
Gnats.
Little flying, like mosquito-y things.
Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, but you see, when you fly, because fly spray soaks into the sheep to get through the wool into their skin and gets in there. So if you go on your hands, it gets into your skin, into your system. So if anything that bites you, they die.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I don't know why I've been bitten anymore, which is good because I've always been bitten. Anyway, moving slightly away. So how is your little attempt to scrub dishes?
Fucking right. So to go from complete scrub lord to MLG master, really aging myself there with the MLG. Not terrible. I am still pretty shite. So I did say that when I started, I would consistently sit in maybe bottom 3. So you got bottom 3, mid 4 for your average, and then top 3 for your fucking tryhards, yeah?
Yeah.
And I started off in bottom 3. In some cases, it was quite a struggle to really fucking, to win a match. And towards the end, in all of the games, I mean, Dota, I got a groove in. We were just steamrolling people. Valorant, I would hover bottom 3 to middle 4. I mean, I think not last match, but the match before it, I was top 2. So fucking whatever happened there, I don't know. Overwatch, I was kind of getting the hang of that when it was still a 50-50 split, but I'd found characters that I was comfortable with, but because they were pugs, pickup groups, randos, it was kind of difficult to, it's hit and miss. You're with a team who might be playing flex, which means you don't get to choose your role, and so you might end up, say, having a tank main who all of a sudden gets spun into a healer. They have no idea what the fuck they're doing, and all of a sudden your healer goes off to go and do whatever it is, and then you lose the match because, team game. But yeah, that was a 50-50 split. Counter-Strike, by the end of it, we started steamrolling, although I still have no idea about utility. So, flashes, frags, smokes, that kind of stuff. If you just tell me to treat it like a raw shooter, I'm not too bad at it, but, with all the extra utility, I'm still pretty fucking clueless. But I'd say as a beginner, not so bad. The surprising worst one for me was League. And we found out that I hadn't actually won a match in League since the 14th. Unless it was against AI.
The ones we won. The ones we won when I was over, were we against? No, we were against.
Yeah, some of them were against. So on Dota, they were always against humans. And then in League, because towards the end of the challenge, we started having this random issue where so you have to queue up for a match, and that could take 2-3 minutes. And then even if you're all in a party, every single person has to accept to join the match. And I would literally, I'd be sat there going, yeah, come on, get in the match. And then the accept bar would come up and I'd give you fucking 10 seconds to click accept before you failed and dropped out. I'd be there to fucking spam that button in an instant. And then all of a sudden, it'd go full circle and then it boot us, and I'm like, why's it done that? Oh, don't worry, man, I clicked it. And, like, everyone's adamant they fucking clicked it, and I'm sure someone didn't click it, but, like, then we'd have to sit in the queue again, and it'd, you know, be there for another 3 minutes. And it's like, okay, there it goes, accept. Go on, let's all hit the button, fucking get accept. And just fucking hit the button, and then it boots you back out again. It's like, I'm getting fucking sick of this. Guys, can we just play against the AI? Because at least when you play against the AI, you get into a match within, like, you know, 20 seconds or whatever. So, but towards the end, we played a handful of matches against AI. Improvements were made. We were learning angles on maps. We were learning, preferred guns and things like that in games where you had to have a little bit of matchup knowledge, you know, to like figure out who did what kind of move and that. We were starting to learn that kind of stuff. So again, admittedly, improvements were made, and I'm surprised that we made those improvements given we were maybe only playing one match a night for 30 days. So that could have been like 6 minutes. You know, an Overwatch match can end in 6 minutes. So to make an improvement at all
that's actually impressive, because
good,
normally you'd have to like play for multiple hours a day for so and so long before you actually...
So, I mean, you usually spend the first few hours playing a game like a shooter or whatever, just learning your fundamentals, like just basic movement, you know? So the fact that, you know, we might have only played for an hour or so, maybe by the end of week 2, that's really saying something, that we actually had improvement. But my aim in Overwatch is still absolutely fucking terrible. My aim in Counter-Strike ain't so bad. My aim in Valorant is... I do not get Valorant at all, because it is hero-based. I would perform better in Valorant if I learned each character's utility, because like in Counter-Strike, you know, if I want to have a flash or a smoke or a frag, you know, you just buy it in the store on the startup, right? But in Valorant, that's tied specifically to character utility. So certain characters might not have, you know, a flash or a smoke or whatever like that. So, you know, you have to pick the character that has that utility. So if I'd learnt the character utility, I'd have probably been a bit better. And some of the games some of the guns look near identical. So I'm like, which gun did I even buy? And then I'll get into a firefight, forget which gun I bought, and then get completely steamrolled. But then that again is just because I don't have any real experience with the game. So, you know, it's just me being...
I don't know how it is with Valorant, but in most online first-person shooters I've played, like knowing the maps is...
that's really important, like game sense, you know, knowing where teams are most likely to come round, being able to line up headshots. Because, I mean, obviously, I was saying to Ram last podcast, when you're playing shooters and you're going for headshots, I mean, in tac shooters, they're mostly horizontal shooters. So, like, you only micro adjust, like, up and down on the vertical for aim. So, if all the characters are standing up and running around the map, you're only gonna have to aim left and right from the center point of the screen. So if you can figure out what angles they're gonna take around, like if they come around this corner, and you've got your height set right, you just click as they come around the corner. You don't even have to adjust. Just click, bam, they're gone.
Yeah.
You know, they're headshot done. So yeah, I think map knowledge is very important, and given that we were learning some of that towards the end, it made it a lot easier. You know, if you knew whether certain characters were likely to pull a surprise attack or whatever, then you know, that was you know, pretty useful. But yeah, improvements were made, and it was incredibly fun. Although I think we all decided towards the end of it that Overwatch would be the one that goes in the bin, just because of how reliant it was on team playing character utility.
As Overwatch, would you say if you had a dedicated group of people who you played with,
much more fun.
It'd be more fun.
Yeah. Much more fun, much more playable. You know, if you had people who played specific roles or could go flex. So, like, let's say I played tank and healer. You know, Zaber played tank DPS. Ram, you played like support or whatever. And then, you know, we could all kind of like mix and match, but we all had specific things we did and we were good at. That would be way, way, way more fun than just playing with randoms who are like, well, I think I'm going to play a healer today. I don't know this character. We go into a match, and because they don't know how the character works, we lose. Or if I were to pick a character I didn't know, well, we're almost guaranteed to lose because I'd almost be playing, we were one player down. So, it was neat. It was neat.
That's one of any game that relies heavily on team-based approaches. I'd imagine, I've never played online, but I'd imagine Team Fortress 2 is probably exactly the same.
Yeah.
Group players, all the characters, what they're doing. It's not going to be a lot more successful, and you can work together as a team. Mm-hmm. You're going to have far better success.
I'm not so bothered about losing. I'm not even so bothered about being in like bottom 3 because that's it's a team-based thing. Losing's fine. In every game, there has to be a loser. That's cool. That's just part of playing a game, right? Yeah. However, one thing I have learned over the last 30 days is that as soon as a group of people feel even remotely pressured, they quit. Outright, hands down, without fail, they will throw matches. They'll tell people to go kill themselves in the chat. Fucking, it's absolutely mental. The number of times we were in Valorant and fucking we'd end up like, I don't know, 2 rounds down, and all of a sudden the "would you like to surrender" box comes up because someone has said, look, hey, let's quit. It was ridiculous. Or the sheer number of times that people are like, oh yeah, we've just lost a match or we lost a round, player is disconnected and won't be spawned into the next round. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I need to find that player, then reconnects like fucking, 3 rounds later. It's like, yeah, you bailed on the game because we were getting scrubbed out. Now you've almost guaranteed we're going to lose. The game's matchmaking has forced your bitch ass back in here. Take the L, stop being a cunt, get on with it.
But it's not my fault you're all terrible players. I'm brilliant. You're terrible.
That was basically it. I mean, I remember, so Divine, our mate Divine, he likes to play Bastion in Overwatch, who's a big fucking robot. He's powerful as fuck. He just basically points in a line. If you walk in front of him, you're dead, right? He picks Bastion, and within about 30 seconds of killing this one guy, the dude comes onto the chat and tells him to drink bleach. It was fucking mental. The sheer number of toxic asswipes who can't handle taking an L in online games, ridiculous.
That's online gaming nowadays, dude.
Yeah. It was quite unsettling. That people were so willing to throw matches over losing a couple of rounds, even though you could have quite comfortably pulled those rounds back. Fun though.
Yeah, do any of these games punish you if you like quit or like drop out?
Valorant does. Valorant does. And I think League might do. No, Dota. League and Dota do, I think. Valorant does. Counter-Strike probably does on the ranked. But people do it anyway. Or if they don't quit, like for example in League, they'll just run straight up mid lane. They'll just run straight down mid. Not even trying to kill the minions, not even trying to avoid the towers. They will just click their character, run down mid, and feed the enemy team so that you lose. They do that all the time. Or they'll just stand there AFK on the base.
The joys of online gaming.
Yeah, it's fucking beautiful. But when you get a group together and you're proper rocking around, it's really, 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 really fun. I didn't think I'd get anywhere for Valorant. I was actually terrified. I was like, I'm just going to drag these teams down. It's going to be fucking terrible. But actually, it turned out to be quite fun. I still had no idea what the utility was, but we had fun. It was also surprising when Divine went into a PC-based first-person shooter for the first time in like nearly 15 years, that he was fucking clicking heads like a machine. I was like, Jesus fucking Christ! The guy who says he doesn't like fucking first-person shooters, and he's just come in here like a fucking god and wrecked a team. Oh no, man! It's not that. I don't play. I was like, dude, come on, you lied to me. You've been downplaying this shit.
If he's lying, or it's an aimbot, one or the other.
Yeah, that's it. It's like, what the fuck are you? Like some kind of fucking seasoned pro Counter-Strike player or some shit? Are you wired into like COD every night or something?
I hardly play games. I only play 150 hours a week.
Yeah, that's it. I was like, all right, I'll take this. Yeah.
Yes, it's just because like he's an average player and like the rest of us is shit.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah, like we're extremely shit.
That was mate, that was beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful.
Out of all these ones you've played, which one would you say has the steepest learning curve in terms of like going from scrub to picking up what to do to actually getting average?
Oh, okay. So I'd say initially they're all pretty tricky. Valorant and Counter-Strike have a lot going on. Like there are people who have learnt those maps well, especially Counter-Strike, they've learnt those maps for years and years and years and years and years. Like, you don't surprise people in Counter-Strike. You know, there's a specific meta with guns, there's specific setups with flashes and smokes. You don't surprise people in that game. Valorant is considerably newer, but the meta is already pretty kind of flushed out. It's already fleshed out, so that one's quite tricky. Like, and because Valorant doesn't allow you to just play against bots or whatever, so you can't just run around and dick around the map and just see what's going on kind of thing. Like, you can't learn setups. Counter-Strike, you have the bonus of being able to play with bots, so you could just fuck around and like Dust 2 for, I don't know, hundreds of hours just fucking around playing against bots or turning off most of the bots and just looking around the map and figuring out angles and figuring out spray patterns on guns. You don't get that joy. You don't get that joy in Valorant, but still, they offer reasonable training util. League of Legends and Dota, they have a lot going on, like a lot going on. So you really have to be willing, if you want to play proficiently, you really have to be willing to kind of get in there, figure out what builds works for your characters, figure out where you like to play, because there are so many characters as well, it could take you a while to find a character that you like.
Yeah. There's something like 200 characters in Dota, isn't there?
About 150, I think. Both League and Dota have like in the hundreds as far as characters are concerned. It's absolutely, like, you could pick like 10 characters. You could be playing for weeks and go, I haven't found one I like, I'm shit. And then, I don't know, all of a sudden you might find that one that kind of scratches, and you're just like, yes, this is it, I'm going.
Yeah, so then as soon as you find one you actually like, then you need to learn about all the items, because like certain characters need different items than the others. So you need to know a lot about the different items you can buy as well, right?
Yeah, items, matchups, because there are so many different characters. You have to learn like which character your character excels against and which ones you really need to just run from. You know, they're all pretty tough. I would say, for me, I found the hardest one, as silly as this sounds, without going into utility and stuff, the hardest one I found was Overwatch. Just because your characters are really squishy. If you don't have proper support, that could prove to be really... Like, Overwatch and Valorant have next to nothing as far as training is concerned. Like, nothing as far as training is concerned. They have, like, a training hall, which gives you a few things to, like, to shoot at. And you can learn sprays and that from that, but you don't really get much by way of moving targets and things like that. I think in Overwatch you can play like a bot match on random maps, but the odd thing with Overwatch was that if you play against bots, this is something I learned, if you click play against AI, you don't play against AI, or you do play against AI, but it will put you in a queue to wait for other players who want to play against AI.
Right.
Exactly. So that mode becomes almost redundant if there's no one queuing up to play against bots.
So you're saying, do you mean that you get put on a team or versus AI? You can't just play just you versus AI?
You just hit it right there first try. You get put in a queue to wait for other human players who want to play against AI.
That's
Dumb?
Bizarre.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I found Overwatch to be the hardest, just because of, realistically, lack of ways to really practice. I'm sure that someone will say that's ridiculous because like Valorant and Overwatch give you that little training room where you can just strafe left and right and focus on aiming against the stationary dummies and all that kind of stuff. But I don't find any of that really helps in a match.
No.
The unpredictable movement of a human player makes the kind of the training mode kind of redundant.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
The AI as well. What the AI is like is the AI programmed like a human, as in to try and play like a human would, and they say dodge and.
No, they're thick as two short planks. I mean, it's not true. You can get better playing in the training modes. You can learn how high headshots are going to be. Like where is mid-screen every time? Is it best to side strafe or aim with the mouse? What is the spray pattern of your gun so you can focus a burst in one place rather than just let recoil take over? Like that kind of stuff you can learn. Just I'd like to be able to move around the maps too, so I can learn some setups and stuff like that. But I would say they're all probably pretty steep if you want to get good, just because the sheer amount of shit going on. If you look at it and go, oh, it's a first-person shooter, mate, or that's a MOBA even, you are barely scratching the surface. You're pulling the wrapper away. You've barely got to anything. I mean, because League, you could probably play that game for hundreds of hours and still not get all of the mechanics. Still not know all the matchups. In Counter-Strike, you might not be able to nail flashes and that every time. You'll still make basic mistakes. So they're all pretty tricky, but I think they are all very, very, very fun, except Overwatch, unless you've got a group.
Fair enough.
That was really long-winded to say. All of them.
That's fair. Steve, have you been up to anything else apart from what we've already discussed?
No, not really. That's about been it for me. Yeah.
What were your thoughts on the games when you played them?
I've played some of them before. I think they were, in terms of what's it called? Like League of Legends. I used to play that back in the day, but
it's changed a lot.
It's changed a lot, yeah. But yeah, it's a fun game. I actually enjoy playing that. I used to play that a lot, and then I switched over to Smite. Played that instead.
Mm-hmm.
But League is still a fun game. Still to date. I mean, it's actually kind of cool seeing these games that have been out for this many years, as well with Counter-Strike and whatnot, Dota as well. These are games that have been out for ages, and they're still good. They're still running.
Yep.
I mean, that's pretty impressive.
I mean, what was League, like 2009?
I can't remember. Well, I used to play Source, like the first one that came out. I can't remember when that was.
Counter-Strike was in Counter-Strike was in the late 90s, early 2000s. League was
2009. You're right, Skazz.
League was 2009. Dota 2, that came out after League, didn't it?
2013.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought it was earlier than that, actually, to be fair, but no, probably not.
It's probably because there were so many MOBAs coming out at the time, because you had Heroes of New Earth. Is it Heroes of the Storm was the Blizzard one? Dota 2, League.
Dota was in a beta for like a long ass time on Steam, I think. Something like that. I think I had access to it.
Because beta builds of Dota 2 didn't become available to people until just before the International.
Well, I can't remember. I just vaguely remember something about having access to something in that sense. I could be mistaken.
But they're old and they're still good.
Yeah, I think that I'm sure there was something though. I'm sure there was some, they say, base builds going on, because I remember hearing people discuss Dota, and I'm thinking back to when I was listening to various people discussing it, and where I was working at the time does not tally up with the release date given. So they may say it came out 2013, but I'm sure there was some version out prior to that.
Yeah, probably.
Sure there was.
You mean Dota 1?
Those two.
Yeah, I said fucking
Yeah,
the
no,
original
just
Defense of the
take a
Ancients,
mic.
yeah.
That was the first version, Ram. That was Dota 1.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, I'm sure there was a like a beta version. There was like some version that people were playing.
I don't remember there being a hugely open beta for Dota 2. There was one, but like there wasn't a big time beta release until just before the international, because players hadn't had it in their hands that long, from what I understand.
Like I said, I could be mistaken. I just remember having access to something Dota.
Mate, I could be pulling it out of my ass too, but I'm sure that was the groove. That like a lot of the players who had got in for the international, they were considered pretty fucking good Dota players.
Yeah.
But I don't remember them having a huge amount of time to. The meta of Dota 2 was still being figured out.
Right, according to Wikipedia, they started a closed beta in 2011.
Oh, there you go.
That tallies up more with the timeline that I'm.
That's not a huge amount of time in. That's not a huge amount of time in beta.
No.
Began development in 2009.
Yeah, fair that.
So yeah, so that's 2011 sounds more like, based on where I was working at the time. I wouldn't have been there in 2012, so it'd have to be in 2000 later on than that. So that sounds about right now.
Sure.
Cool. Right. Well, that's all from you guys. And I've been playing quite a lot this week, actually.
Oh my.
Yes, I'm playing a game called Satisfactory.
Right.
It's a. I said I was talking about Zaber on Wednesday, and I said it's sort of a bit like a survival game, but it isn't really, and it isn't anything like a survival game. The basic premise is you are called a pioneer, and you've been sent by a corporation to a planet to basically gather resources from the planet and send it back to them. So the game starts with you in a little one-person drop pod, and you're just sent down to the planet's surface, and you pick where you're going to go, and then depending on where you go on the planet's surface will be the difficulty level. The map is the same for everybody. It's not like a procedure-generated map. It's the same for everybody, but you base your difficulties based on your starting location. So certain areas will be hard to find resources, so that's obviously harder difficulty. So you drop down to the planet's surface, you get out, and initially the only sort of tools you've got is like you've got like a scanner that can scan for resources, and you've got like a tool that can like dismantle and build things. So the first thing you job you've done is when you get down, it's like, right, dismantle your drop pod, because you're going to need that to build your like first base. So you dismantle your drop pod, and then you get your scanner out, and the first thing you can scan for is iron, basic resource. And you scan, you'll find, it'll highlight on the map all the sources of iron will like be marked. There's no map, sorry, at first. It'll highlight on your little compass all the sources of iron, how far away they are. So you then sort of make your way towards one, find one, and then you can start just literally mining with a futuristic pickaxe. And you sort of like punch it basically repeatedly to get the iron out. And then you basically says, right, okay, now you need to build a base, pick somewhere flat nearby. So you pick somewhere flat nearby and build a base. And then your basic sort of initial part of the game is just upgrading your base. And you do this by gaining more resources and finding different types of resources, and basically as you then craft those. So iron, for example, comes out as an ore, which you can then craft into iron ingots, which you can then make into other iron things like iron plates. You general crafting process. But what sort of makes it fun and why it's called Satisfactory is fairly quickly you will unlock. First of all, you unlock sort of like an automatic drilling machine. So you plop this machine down and it will just drill, and it will collect up to like a stack of 100 things, and then you can pick them up, and also you get 100 iron ore, for example, which you can then pick up. But eventually you'll unlock a machine that has a drill, but has a conveyor belt on it. And this is where sort of the main point of Satisfactory comes in, is that you can connect all your machines together with conveyor belts. And the idea is you start building production lines. So you start unlocking constructors, which will basically turn, or can take a single input, and they'll then turn into a single output. So they can take iron ore and convert it into iron ingots. Then you might have to use another constructor to turn those ingots into metal plates, and then perhaps all into like iron rods, and then perhaps you turn the iron rods into nails by another constructor, and you start building these production lines together, linking them together, and basically as the sort of game gets on, what you need to build gets tougher. So your initial goal is to upgrade your base, your hub, as they call it, and once you plant it, it gets planted on your campus, so you always can find it, and you upgrade the hub to sort of its highest level. And once you've done that, you can build a space elevator. You build a space elevator, and then you have to start building these really specific specialty items, which might require several complex components. So one I was building today, a production I had going on today, was building these like funny rigid framework. And to build that, I needed steel bars. So to make steel bars, I need to build a forge. To make the forge, which I have to feed with a source of coal and a source of iron ore, and the forge then makes steel out of it. And then I put it through a construction to make steel bars, which then go to the assembler, which can take 2 inputs and build some more complicated, and that will then assemble it into, and then that will assemble like one half of the item. The other half of the item is these standard frameworks. To make those, I need steel rods, which I get from iron bars, which I get from iron ore. But I also need reinforced metal plates. To get those, I need iron plates, which I get from iron bars, from iron ore. But I also need nails, which I get from steel rods, from iron ore, bars and iron ore. So you start combining together these production lines, and sort of, to make it really efficient, you can look and see it's fairly smartly set. So it will tell you, like, okay, this assembler will make 5 of these a minute. It will take in these resources, and it will need 30 of these a minute. So let's say it needs nails. I need 60 nails a minute. Okay. Well, this same making reinforced plates, for example. Okay. My main machine needs like 5 plates a minute, or say 4 plates a minute. These machines only do 2.5 each. So I need 2 of them together to make enough frameworks to go into the final machine. They now need 60 nails each a minute, so that's 120. My constructors produce 40 nails a minute. So right, okay, now what I need to do then is I need to now split the constructor up. I need to have 3 constructors all producing nails. That's 120 nails. Then what I'll do is I'll get them all to come, and I can get like you upgrade, like get more conveyor belt things, link stuff together. So I'll link the 3 conveyor belts together to one machine. So I'll get all 120 free constructors will combine together to one conveyor belt, so they're producing 120 in that conveyor belt. Then I put it back into a splitter, because I've got 2 assemblers making these machines, which will split it back into 2 paths, 60 minutes, and then they'll go to the right process, and I'll have the right flow of materials through it. And that's just all working your way back, and eventually build this very complicated production line up, and resources don't run out. Once you've tapped one, it doesn't run out, so you can literally just leave it running, and you can climb up on top of, you can build a massive tower if you want, stand on top of it, and just stare down and just watch as it's just this entire factory production line is just taking everything and making what you need. It's very satisfying watching it all work, and it's an early access game, but by God, it's got a lot of stuff in it. So much stuff already. I mean, from your basic iron stuff, you've got like you can like build coal-fired power stations. And they're quite interesting because they need a source of coal, they need a source of water, because they also use coal to burn, which they then boil water to spin a turbine, generate our power. Really handy. Well, you then need to find that means you need to find a lake, and then if you find a lake, you need to make a water extractor to pull water out of the lake. And do your choices then? Do you pipe it all the way back to your base, or do you build the coal plants near the lake, and perhaps there's a coal, and bring the coal to it and have all the power there? Then you make like a national grid be proud of you run of power lines all the way back to your base. That's what I did in the end. I just had a massive power cable that runs all the way to my base that links everything up. The coal ones are interesting because they need power to start themselves going. Because also you need to get the furnace going, you need to start pumping water in. so you supply power to them as well. To get them going, then you can disconnect that power and they'll run by themselves. And the power network is all combined. I guess all your machines obviously require power, and you'll have a network of so a normal like standard generator produces like what you get on the hub produces like 20 megawatts of power. You buy biomass generators that produce 30 megawatts, and the coal ones do 75 each. And so you link them all together onto the network. And then you could have multiple networks. So you could have I've got a single network, and I'm now producing about 400 megawatts of power between the whole network. And I did have a mine disaster. Well, I don't know what I did, but I managed to crash my entire power network. But because everything was linked together, if you try and power one back on, everything crashes because it basically draws. As soon as it powers back on, everything tries to draw too much power and it just drops off again.
You turned on the kettle, didn't you?
Yeah. So what I had to do, I had to basically separate off the grid and basically bring the grid back online in stages to bring it back up to full power before I can reconnect it back up to my main grid. And that took a little bit of figuring out, actually. How do I power this up bit by bit so I don't overload it, and then I can get to the main grid and get everything functioning again? I mean, I don't know how this game runs so nicely, because there are literally I've got dozens and dozens of machines all producing stuff, all taking inputs, all doing their own little cycles and stuff over a big map. How the fuck this game is managing this? I mean, I've got a conveyor belt that must be like a kilometre long. I set it going, bring coal to my base. And just see these little coal, and it starts it going, producing coal. It's on the conveyor belt. Eventually, it'll get to the base. About 10 minutes later, it turns up on the conveyor belt because it's all quite slow moving. I just think, how's this game running? How's the logic working? This should be crashing by the sheer amount of things it has to think about, but it works. Very impressive what they've done. I've now unlocked a truck that I could build. I could get to, and you can set waypoints for the truck to drive to places and pick stuff up, and it'll do like little shuttle ferry routes. I didn't buy it and immediately actually drive it off a cliff into like nothingness, and I've managed to now figure out how to you don't retrieve, but you destroy it. I've now unlocked a monorail, so I can start building a monorail. Again, that I can have like freight places, and again, you can automate everything. Everything can be fully automated. So you basically, it's almost the point of the game is basically make everything automated, so you can literally sit back and just watch this whole factory just do its thing, and you build it. But then other than that, it just processes it all. But even like to the space elevator has connections on it where you can feed in all the components. So place it in the right place, you can have all the stuff being fed into it automatically, and you just literally walk away and leave it to it. And eventually, you'll just watch the numbers tick up, and then go launch your space elevator off. It is so much fun. It's the creativity to be able to just build, because there's basically no sort of limit to there's no sort of resource cap of what you can do. You can just keep building things. I've now started building these hyper tunnels, which are basically like a vacuum tube you can jump in to take you places. So like between my power station area and my main base, I've now got a tunnel between there and there. So rather than do a long walk to get there and check in on everything, I just jump in the tunnel, get zooped right there, and pick stuff up. So you've got a train you can do the same as well. You start finding yourself setting up like, I'm gonna have this area, it's gonna be all my power base area, I'm gonna have all my power here in one place. I'm gonna say, okay, what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna have machines that produce, so I've got biomass generators. I'm now going to set up a production line to produce all the biomass they need. So I literally can dump leaves in one end, and out comes these like 4 log rolls. I can put in generators and generate more power. It is absolutely addictive and fun. I was playing it this evening, and it got to like 20 past. I thought, I really need to set up for Round Nerds, but I really want to finish building this Hyperloop. I'm going to build that now, and then I'm going to come off.
Just one more little build.
Yeah, it is one more little build.
Seems like a game that really challenges you in like on a creative level.
Yes. Yeah, you have to really the complicated production lines, yes. So I was sat down here with a piece of paper with almost like a flow chart of here's where I need to be, here's what it needs per minute to do it. What do I need to build in order to supply it? I mean, if you don't supply that quick, it doesn't matter. It doesn't require it to do stuff. It just means it'll take it a lot longer to do things. Mm-hmm. So it'll keep pushing stuff through it in from the conveyor belts into it, but it won't start building until it has 12 iron rods. It won't build anything. So you can put an iron rod in every second. So you want to try and get your output production slightly faster than what it requires And also that then filters back down every step of the way, comes down. So the simplest option is like iron ore. Iron ore is produced by your miner 1 iron ore a second. But your constructors can only produce 30 steel iron bars a minute. So they produce one every 2 seconds. Well, then the other thing you do is you split your iron ore into 2 paths and send it to 2 different constructors. So you'll gain maximum output from that because they're both doing 30 each, which keeps the flow from the iron ore up. And then you then decide where you're going to send them up to, and like, okay, how much am I going to build in these? So, okay, iron rods. Some of them I need to go to screws, or to nails. I'll build 6 constructors building that. I'll have 2 going off to be a nail production line for like depending on what the item is. And the rest will just produce steel rods depending on what you're building. It is a puzzle. You have to sit down and work out and building your factory, and it requires quite a bit of space. The things I think I find slightly annoying is because it's all in first person, the game. There are a few bits where it goes third person, you go for the hyperloops and stuff. That is when you place stuff, you do it in first person, and there's no real grid system, so it's really hard to actually line things up just right. So your factory tends to always look a little bit higgledy-piggledy. I want it nice and neat lines. I almost want to be able to like get in like a drone sort of view and look down and go, okay, I want this here, this here. So like, also like putting conveyor belts and stuff. Your conveyor belts tend to cut very strange lines because you can't easily do a straight line because you're on. It's very hard to do when it's in first person. I mean, it helps you a little bit. So like when you line stuff up, it will draw like a bit like in Photoshop how when you line something up, it shows you a guideline, so you've lined up. It does that with like other items. It does a similar sort of thing. It'll show you a green line, so you've lined up with this, but it's not perfect.
This game would do my head in with my OCD.
yeah. If you have to sort of accept your factory will look a bit jank. I mean, if you sort of got at the moment, I've got like a conveyor belt that sort of has to. In one version, I had a conveyor belt that sort of. It came out of a constructor, but I had to go to like a machine that joined it. Because it couldn't do the angle to go straight into it, I had to come all the way out, loop back on itself, and go back in. Mm-hmm. So like this sort of like weird loop in it, and it's the only way I get to do it. And I've got a conveyor now. I've got a conveyor that can go above each other, so I've got like this weird, like sort of like roller coaster tycoon-esque arrangement of conveyor belts going past each other to get to the various things. Everything looks a little bit jank, and part of me would like, I want to dismantle it all and redo it, because dismantling basically costs you nothing. You don't lose anything with dismantling, you get everything back. So there's no cost to it, so you can when my factory was producing one item, as soon as it finished it, I just completely obliterated the whole factory and rebuilt it again to produce the next item. Your resources, you get quite a few resources. You have to start off with like the basic one is like iron. You then can get limestone, which you can use to make concrete, which you can obviously use in building things. You can then as you come across like other ores, you can unlock them. So I've now unlocked like obviously coal was the next sort of major one I unlocked. I'm now looking at quartz. There's another one which I can't remember the name of, which is basically like gold. It's a funny name. It's like the sort of space equivalent of gold. And you unlock these minerals. As you find them, you sort of like, if you mine them, you'll then sort of contain them to like a research base and unlock them and find them on your scanner. I remember the coal one, I got the scanner up, scanned it. It's like your nearest source of coal is like 1.3 kilometers away. And I spent ages sort of going out, sort of dealing with the local, because there's alien life on here as well that will attack you. It's not particularly vicious, but it will attack you and it will go for you. And when you're quite early on, can be quite dangerous. If you die, it's you saw some survival aspect, because if you die, you drop a crate where you are and have to go back to the crate to get all your stuff back.
Oh, I just had a flashback. This is like futuristic Valheim, isn't it?
It is and it isn't, that you're not going to get. There's no bosses to fight, and you're not going to get mobbed by thousands of things constantly. And they don't destroy your base. They do not attack your base. Your base is safe, so you don't have to worry about that. I think eventually you can actually start making guns. So to get to the higher levels of technology, you have to start first. You have to get the hub done, which unlocks. So you have those different tiers. So this your tiers unlocked by upgrading the hub. And once you upgrade the hub, you do what they call make project parts, which is what for your space elevator, which are parts just for that, just for like a project they're doing. Once you've got enough to send up to space, that every time you do that sort of next step, you'll then unlock the next tier up. So I'm now on tier I think there's 10 tiers, and I'm now on tier 7 and 8. Because you unlock 2 tiers at a time, strangely. I'm guessing that the idea is long term they'll actually split those into single tiers. You unlock 1 at a time, but at the moment you do unlock 2 at a time. So on tier 7 and 8, I think like tier 19 you start getting access to like nuclear power and stuff and start producing huge amount of power and stuff. So there are like radioactive areas. I can now there's like areas where you can't initially go into, like, so, but I've now got the business to make. Well, when I research it, I can unlock like gas masks, so gas masks and stuff. So not only do you have so the tier stuff unlocks certain what they call milestones, and milestones will unlock new gear and equipment. So a tier might have like 3 or 4 milestones in it, and it'll be like, okay, this is basic steel production. So you need to unlock this milestone by, again, supplying components, which then go off and unlock it. And if you do that, you can then unlock basic steel production. And some things you have to do, because certain things you need to make will only be available. You are not available until you unlock them using these milestones. But then perhaps some things you need to make before you need, like, so for example, a milestone. One of the milestones I've got to do at the moment. I need to supply plastic and rubber to unlock it, but I can't make plastic and rubber yet. There's another milestone which unlocks the ability to make plastic and rubber. So I need that first, and then I can unlock that ability, and I can start producing the materials I need to then go off and make higher level stuff. It's a for games only on like version 0.5. It feels pretty solid. It's very smart in many ways. So when you go to, it's got lots of good quality of life stuff in it. So when you go to something that you can like interact with, and once you drop anything that you can actually just drop in, it just appears. It like separates them out of your inventory and puts them up like above, saying this is all stuff that you can use with this item. This so you can drag across. You don't have to hunt your inventory to find the bit you need. It's all just there, all the top. And likewise, as you produce stuff back, it will reappear on the top there, so you know what's all linked together. So it makes finding stuff a dozen. It's got an auto sort function of the inventory, which so many games don't bother having. So literally, button just sorts your entire inventory out, combines all your stacks together, all done for you. Simple little quality of life thing like that makes it worth. Same with machines. The machines tell you exactly what they need per minute. Little quality of life, so you have to figure out for yourself. It's got lots of those little bits. So they've obviously thought about how do we make it not frustrating, what bits noise and other sort of similar games, and that's how we make that bit so it works. I would like some way of, like, almost calculating. I said what I would like is some sort of grid system, so you can. There's a grid system for some bits, but like a more in-depth one, so you can like place machinery and stuff better, or some way you can do it sort of from above. You can build towers. I've tried a bit, which sure works. You can build from above, but it'd be easy if there was some. You could almost like sort of snap them together. Would be a lot nicer as well. But actually, there's not a lot I can really complain about. They've clearly thought about it, and even things like I drove the truck off the side of a cliff, and it's a bottomless cliff. So I thought, oh, that's it, the truck's gone. But actually, no. What it does is it just freezes midair, and so you can get it freezes in such a way that you can get there with your dismantling tool, and dismantle it and pick it back up. So you don't lose out there. Some resources are blocked by like stones, which you need to blow up, which I haven't not unlocked yet because I've not found enough sulfur to make explosives yet. I'm now at sort of stage now where I'm having to sort of like explore more. There isn't a lot of really encouragement to explore. Most of the resources I found pretty close by, but I'm now at a stage where I'm going to have to explore a bit more to find what I need. Because I'm running out of stuff nearby that I can use. There's just some areas that like I've got like high radiation. I've not lost any sort of radiation suit to go up to them yet, so I can't get to them yet. There's also like normal base buildings. You can build like basic structures with walls and metal foundations and so forth, which, as far as I can tell, have no rule. They all, as long as they attach to one another somehow, there's no. So you can put like a ramp connected like on one edge to another ramp. It doesn't care. It doesn't require support underneath. So there's like I was trying to find some water, and I saw a waterfall. Thought, well, there's a waterfall up there. Must be water up there. So I just literally built a ramp all the way up to it, and it didn't care. So as long as it's connected to another bit of ramp, it's fine. It'll just sit there floating in midair. And so you can do silly stuff like that. I've built this massive stairway all the way up. I did get up there and I immediately got attacked by radiation, so I had to leave. And there was no water up there anyway. The sort of waterfall came out like the sort of like bedrock. So, that was a waste of time. That was a waste of my 20 minutes. But yeah, you find yourself doing little projects like, so I've done the Hyperloop projects. So I want to start. I'm now set up like at my main base. I'm just like a Hyperloop station. So everywhere my areas I'm going to have all come back to the main base. So like I have like a central place. I can come back to get everywhere, rather than do like I might put some direct paths in at some point. But initially, that's what I want to do. It's got like a little transit station, and obviously you do stuff with your machineries, and because they will. And I suppose the other thing I would like is the ability to say to the machine, once you produce X, Y, Z, don't do it anymore. Because obviously some machines produce material quicker than others. So in a situation where I've got something like 30,000 nails, I don't really need. I'm sure I'll use them at some point. And I've got one machine which I forgot about, which was making me copper wire. I've come back and I've got like sort of 30,000 copper reels of copper wire, because it's like 500 in stack. There's like 30 stacks, so it's like 30 odd stacks. There's like 15,000 copper wires. I don't really need at this moment in time. It'll be a long time to use, but it does mean like, okay, for this you need $2,000. I thought I can do that. I've got thousands stored over here. I'll just go grab them. And I've actually filled up. There's like you can buy like shipping containers that you can like fill stuff up in. They've got an in and out, and again, quite smart on the actual grid. If it's at the bottom, if it's like the last item on the grid, so grid go left to right, top to bottom, the last item on that grid will be the one that will come out of it. So if you have multiple things in there, as long as you make sure the stuff you want to come out at the end, it will come out first. Mm-hmm. So you can do things like, okay, I'm going to be changing production soon to something else. So I'm going to go into my container, move all the items grid to the bottom, and then the new stuff which gets put by I'm going to change production, the upflow production, something else. That'll fill for the top, but I'll still only get stuff I want out. So you can do clever stuff. It has got some clever stuff like that. You can fit it all out to like plan ahead and so forth. And you can like, okay, I need exactly this many of those. So, but yeah, somebody says to the machine, okay, once you've produced 100 of these, stop bothering anymore. Don't bother. Because at the moment you have to go switch them off yourself. And you can switch machines off, say stop production. Because it's an infinite resource, they will just keep going and keep on going and going and going and going. And you do end up with a lot. But you do later on require lots of resources, but just leave them chugging away, and you'll come back and find you've managed to fill up like 2 shipping containers full of concrete. Which...
Do they have like a forum where you can go like type to the developers like,
probably
this would be
probably they see. I mean, so it's very
since you're playing it so much, it might be a good idea, like to give them some feedback.
Yeah. I mean, I've been playing now, so about 24 hours in now. I've been playing, and I'm now sort of pushing towards the final couple of tiers. But yeah, I think that's probably my own sort of is there's no real need for me to explore at the moment. So I've probably done like barely a tenth of the map. And whether that's deliberate, whether it's like, okay, well, the idea is different parts of different levels. So actually, fact, there's no point exploring the whole map because you do that when you do it to higher difficulty level. Maybe that's all the point. I'm guessing that's sort of what the reason was, because otherwise there's no real need to go anywhere. But it's cool. It's fun. And it's also got multiplayer as well. So you can build stuff with your friends. But yeah, very neat game. Really recommend it. It's currently on Steam Summer Sale for like 16 quid. So a bargain at the moment. So something to pick up. But yeah, I was going to take a lot of willpower to not load the game immediately after this and carry it on. Cool. Right. Is there anything from anybody else before we wrap up?
Nope. Got nothing.
No.
Fair enough. Scrub the Supermaster on the way there. Excellent then. Okay, well, I think it's time for us to wrap up then. So thank you everybody for joining us this evening. You can join us on our next podcast, which is going to be on the 16th of July 2022 at GMT 21:30+1. You can also join us on Games Night, which is this Tuesday at the 5th at 20:30 GMT+1. You can check out our Twitch channels on twitch.tv/Satisfactory.
Twitch.tv/Skazz, SK4ZZI0US.
Yep. And Zaber, you're not twitching at the moment, are you?
No, I have an account, but I don't use it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So you can't join Zaber on his Twitch channel. And you can also check out our website, randnerds.co.uk. You can check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/randnerds. You can see us on Twitch, twitch.tv/randnerds. So until then, from me, the Suffolk Crown.
Skazz.
Zabermoul.
Yeah, we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
See you later, guys.
Bye.
See ya.